Um, Today is December the 17th, and I am here with Miss Holly Jones. This is James Harold Bullman, the letter, reporting to you. How you doing, Miss Jones?
Doing great, Jimmy. Glad to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Beautiful
ma'am.
East Asheville.
It is. It is at station number 9, I believe it is, at the library. And Miss Jones has sat down and to do an interview with me, and I'm very thankful with that. And I would like to ask you, Miss Jones, the first question: do you plan on running for a higher office in the next re-election?
In the next re-election, that is 3 years away, and I have no current plans to do anything other than serve on the county commission. But I've learned to never say never about anything. But I've gotten into public office primarily as following a call. So there may be another call to a different office, or it may be a call to a less visible place in our community. So that's kind of where I am right now. I was elected for a 4-year term a year ago.
Okay.
So I got 3 more years to serve the good citizens of District 1 in Buncombe County, and that's going to be my focus.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Do you find it hard sometimes working with other members of council?
Well, I think working across all sorts of lines is always challenging in terms of either philosophical lines or personality lines or age lines, cultural lines. So I think elected boards are no different than workplaces or even families for that matter. So sure, there's definitely some difficulties that arise, and I think most of the folks that come into public office are there because they have a passion, and sometimes those passions aren't always in sync, and I think that is definitely a recipe for at least temporary conflict. But I don't necessarily think conflict is a bad thing. I think it's a very natural thing, and I think the bigger issue is to work through it, not necessarily because you're trying to be best friends with people on your board, but because you want to get work done for the citizens. And so you've got to be a functional entity, so that's the goal.
Okay. You said philosophies, and I know from looking at your Facebook and from asking, I wanted to know, does your faith play a role in your office as chair?
Absolutely. I mean, I think my faith kind of grounds me in whatever commitment that I launch into in life, be it work or parenthood or elected office. I'm definitely drawn to the prophets. I love Micah's quote of "Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your Lord." That's a driver for me, and of course, so many of the Gospels that talk about service to the least of these. So those are definitely things that kind of pound in my heart, and reasons why I want to be of service to the community. But I will say that my faith does not necessarily lead me to kind of the traditional evangelism but it does absolutely ground me.
Okay. As to this date, what are some of the things that you're most proud of as far as taking part in as being chairman, as being with the council?
Right.
Commission, excuse me.
Yeah. David Gant is the chair, and I'm thrilled that he has that role and not me. I'm just one of the commissioners. But in terms of the things that I've been proud of in elected office, I would say with this particular board that I'm serving on now, the county commission, I would say that our one of the things that we just did about a couple of weeks ago, which is our energy independence initiative that will commit to reducing our carbon footprint 80% over the next several years, committing to reducing our energy by 2% a year. I think that's really important for our future. I'm very proud of the non-discrimination policy that we passed earlier in the year that would include non-discrimination it's that we cannot discriminate against our gay and lesbian and bisexual colleagues. I think that was really important, that we show that we are an equal opportunity employer in Buncombe County. I'm always interested in any successes that we have in developing affordable housing. We had a great success with the development of the Glen Rock and Eagle Market Streets right around the corner, and there's been some other great projects by Mountain Housing like the Larchmont, and the roles that I've been able to play on the county commission or in Asheville City Council have been really very fulfilling to me. We, when I was on Asheville City Council, we did adopt the 10-year plan to end homelessness, and I feel like that's been a very helpful guide. We know we have more work to do than we've done, but I feel like that has led us in some important directions, and proud of that. So those are a few things.
Do you feel like the county needs more outreach, such as A Hope and B Hope the city does? Do you feel like, I know we have ABCCM, which services the county, but do you feel like that there could be more outreach in that, or do you feel like that's been taking place by enacting what you were just speaking on?
Are you talking about outreach in terms of kind of services to homeless folks?
Yes, homelessness and things of that nature.
I think there's much. I think we have identified some needs that are being addressed well with our current structure, but I think what we're finding is that there's some growing challenges that we've got a ways to go on, particularly with our veterans as well as families that are homeless. I am not. I'm not closed to there being new entities and new nonprofits. I always am going to start with, is there a way to expand the work that's already happening with some of the providers that know, that are kind of already involved and have been thinking about this issue. So I would think that we would need to approach them in terms of kind of expansion services before, kind of creating a new entity. It's very expensive to start a new entity, but is enough outreach happening? No. We definitely could use more.
Do you think
services.
that's part of just the economy itself, or?
I think yes. I think fundamentally it is part of the economy. I think it's the issue of the changing landscape of our job market has changed in a way that the jobs that are available are primarily lower wage, and it's hard for folks to make it all work with. In fact, it's almost impossible with just one job. If you've got a family, even if you don't have a family, folks are working 2 and 3 jobs just to kind of keep their heads above water. So, sure, it is definitely a product of the economy, what's available in terms of working.
Can I ask what got you involved in public office? Can I ask what got you involved?
Sure, yeah.
Excuse me.
I grew up in a household where elected office was a great service. I saw so much good work happening in the North Carolina General Assembly. That was a long time ago. I'm not as proud of this General Assembly as I was of the one in the 70s. The one in the 70s my father was a part of. He was a state senator, and they created public kindergarten. They created our statewide emergency services network. They were a General Assembly that was about serving the community and not trying to take away things or squash the community. So that was my experience growing up, and so from a very early age I saw what was possible for folks, for families, for the future.
I know that you've worked at the YWCA. Mm-hmm. In doing that, have you seen, has that groomed, I don't want to say groomed, but has that helped you in your position?
I think what has been helpful from working at the YWCA has been my contact with folks in the community, particularly when I worked with the YWCA of Asheville. Every day I would see families that were just working families that were trying to get by, and mamas taking their kids to daycare so they could go to school, and we had a really growing and thriving after-school program that served over 120 kids, and working with the schools that want all our children to succeed. So I think those types of experiences and interfaces really have kind of have kept me in touch with part of what the community needs and wants, particularly a slice of the community that might not necessarily always be at the table. And I feel like it's partly my responsibility to bring those voices to the table.
I know this really isn't, or it may be, but you correct me. Do you feel like parents and kids are asked to start their day too early in the wintertime with the weather and the dark? And I realize, I know that.
Yeah, I
has to do
haven't
with.
really thought about that question a lot in terms of length of. I don't know. I'll just be honest with you. I've never thought about that question before. I have a young child, and that I get off in the mornings, and it's definitely a darker start and a colder start these days. But there's a lot of dynamics in play. So.
May I ask, are you a tea or a coffee person?
I'm a coffee person.
Do you have any favorite
Coffee?
Mm-hmm.
No, whatever's piping hot in front of me is what I usually drink.
Okay.
I'm not into the flavors as much. I kind of like the
Okay.
express
You
roast.
just
type
like
of
the
thing.
regular?
Yeah, the regular, yeah.
I would like to thank you so very much for your time, ma'am.
You're so
I
welcome.
can't
It's been
tell
my
you.
pleasure.
It's been my pleasure as well. Is there anything? And this is James Bullman, and this is Miss Holly Jones, Commissioner. Thank you, Miss Jones.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
I hope you do too.